Hey guys, it's Jessica, and today I'm going to share with you guys my drugstore foundation collection, but it's not just to show you the foundation I have. I want this video to be a collection of full-on reviews of all of these foundations. I've tried all of them enough to at least have a good feel for my thoughts on them, who I would recommend it for, or if I just wouldn't recommend it at all. Before we get into it, make sure that you subscribe if you'd like to see more drugstore makeup videos, and I hope that you will also come say hi on my social media, and let's go ahead and get into the video. So the first foundation I wanted to start with is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation. So in my collection, I have 3 different shades. Took me a while to finally get the one that I needed, but they have 20 shades in the range, and this retails for $5.99. Of course, you can get coupons and sales and things from time to time. But I've got Shell Ivory, Nude Ivory, and Soft Beige. The claims of this foundation is that it gives pretty good coverage, but also that there's absolutely no flashback. And I will agree with the fact that it doesn't give any flashback if you use flash photography, anything like that. The packaging of these is a little bit interesting. It's one step better than just a straight up open glass container with a lid that you just have to dump it out, because it has this little paddle that you can kind of swipe either onto your brush, your beauty blender, your hand, whatever, or your face. So it is a step above that, but it's certainly not my favorite kind of foundation packaging. Of course, for them to keep the price down on this, I'm sure a pump would have been a little bit more expensive. It would have made the price kind of creep up. That's my inference or my guess. But Soft Beige was a little bit too deep for me, so I've been using kind of these lighter ones or kind of mixing them as well. I, again, really haven't found the perfect shade, but because these are inexpensive, I don't feel too bad buying a couple. So I feel like the coverage on this is medium. I think you can build it a little bit. I always like the way my skin looks with this at first, like the first half of the day, but I do feel like about halfway through the day, it starts to break down around my nose a little bit, and so I'll grab like a powder foundation and just kind of touch up. But it's nothing that looks so horrible that I'm like not wanting to wear it. I still wear it all the time. I'm reaching for these a lot more often than some other foundations, so I think that's a testament to how these perform. I do think they wear pretty well, certainly not perfect. So I think for $5.99, it's a great option. It's one that if I ran out of it, I probably would buy it again just so I would have it in my collection. I like it. So the next foundation is one that I kind of go back and forth with. It's the L'Oreal True Match Lumi. I've bought this a couple different times and decluttered it over and over again because I never really liked the way my skin looked with it. I have dry skin, I would say normal to dry, and this should be perfect for my skin type, right? And I like a glowy look to the skin. It just never works for me. Now, as I'm reading the claims, it has 12 different shades. It retails for $12.95. You can often find it for like $8.99 at Target and places like that, but that's kind of the retail value. It says it's medium coverage, it's skin improving, and that it's got a luminous finish. So it has ingredients like vitamin C and E, things like that that are supposed to help your skin over time if you're wearing it every day, which I think is amazing. And I didn't know that about this the first few rounds of trying this out. So I think that's pretty cool. It has 40% pure water, and of course it gives you this instant luminous glow. I will agree that it's certainly not a matte finish by any means. I just wish it had more coverage. I think that's usually what it is for me. I haven't found a way that I like applying this. Now knowing that it does have a little bit of better ingredients in it, it does make me want to try it a couple more times, because that means it's a great option for maybe a day that I don't need a perfect skin look, but I don't want to be putting things on my skin. Maybe on a Saturday if I'm grocery shopping, I'd maybe throw this on instead of a BB cream, because I feel like the coverage of this is like that of a BB cream, if that makes sense. So the packaging is beautiful. If you like maybe a lighter coverage, a little bit glowy, and good for your skin, then I think you'd like it. So kind of meh for me. The next one is the Neutrogena Hydra Boost Hydrating Tint. This one retails for $14.99. It has 10 different shades. The packaging is what sold me on this. It has a huge doe foot applicator similar to like the Clinique Beyond Perfect one. So you can just kind of swipe it onto your face where you want and then blend it in. This is not a high coverage foundation at all. It really is more of like a tinted moisturizer kind of a look. However, it has hyaluronic acid in it, and it's supposed to make your skin kind of plumpify, you know, just a little bit more plump. I do feel like when I'm putting this on, I feel like my skin is happy. And it certainly doesn't cover like redness that I want it to cover, but every time I apply it, I feel like my skin is like, because my skin loves hyaluronic acid. When I do it in serums, anything like that, my skin loves it. So for me, I like it for that reason alone. This is a great weekend foundation for me. I wear it to work from time to time if I'm in a rush because I know I can blend it in really quickly. But if I'm wanting a flawless look, this is not what I'm going for. Some people have compared this to the La Mer foundation and they've said it's very similar to that. I think that's pretty cool. I don't know. I haven't tried the La Mer foundation. Maybe one day. It's so expensive. I don't know. But I don't know about that, but I do know that I like this. Again, not for full coverage. So that is my, those are my thoughts on this. My next favorite is the e.l.f. Flawless Finish Foundation. This is oil-free. It has SPF of 15. It retails for $6 and there are 10 different shades. They just recently added a couple more because there used to be less than that. But I thought I wore sand and then I realized, no, that is way too dark. So now I have porcelain, which it looks like online they said now it's called natural. Used to be called porcelain. So I don't know. Regardless, that's the shade I'm in. It works pretty well for me. This is a full coverage foundation. It has a pump, which I love. I mean, it's very nice packaging for a $6 foundation. It's kind of crazy when I start to compare the Wet n Wild to this. I do think the e.l.f. one is leaps and bounds above it when it comes to the finish and the longevity of it and the packaging. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, oftentimes in stores, you can't see as wide of a shade range in this, but online you can access all of them. So this has SPF of 15, like I said, which is pretty cool. I just love the coverage and the finish. It's a semi-matte finish, full coverage. I think you need to build it up, but it is definitely full coverage. I'm wearing it today. I had to think, wait, what did I put on? This is what I'm wearing today. I usually use a blender with it, a sponge of some kind. Today I used the EcoTools one, and I was very impressed with the EcoTools sponge. But I really like it. I don't know what else to say. It's one of my favorite foundations above high end. I still am reaching for this foundation all the time. So my next one is the Rimmel Lasting Finish Foundation. This is only in 7 shades. And at least at Target, it's retail for $6.99. It's a little bit more expensive depending on where you get it. But this is one that I used to own and then it had gotten old and so I repurchased it recently. I have it in the shade 100 Ivory, which is a pretty good match. It's a little deeper than you would think, but it's a good match for me anyway. The packaging is not great. It's just the old glass dump bottle. But, I mean, I really hate that. You can buy pumps online from like random brands that would fit this. Regardless, it's supposed to last for 25 hours. It's one of those long wear foundations. You can totally build it up to full coverage. I love this foundation. It's one of the first drugstore foundations I ever tried, and that made me realize that you could get amazing foundations from the drugstore. I mean, this is beautiful. It wears all day long. Really, no matter what primer I've tried it with, it looks beautiful. I do think it's best applied with a sponge because it is full coverage. Even with a sponge, it's full coverage. I love it. It does have a smell that's it's a very specific smell that I attribute to this. And for me, it's like nostalgic because this was one of my first favorites. So when I smell it, I'm like, it makes me think of what I was doing. I was like a nanny at the time and like starting my channel. Anyway, I love this foundation. I totally recommend it. Again, really cheap. I think I like this better than the Wet n Wild one too. I'm starting to realize a lot of these are around the same price and yet they're just a little bit better. But I love it. Speaking of full coverage, by the way, the Rimmel and the e.l.f. both look really nice even if you have dry skin. So even though I'm saying, yes, they cover really well, it doesn't cover so much that you end up looking dry and cakey. It doesn't accentuate that at all, and that's why they're amazing. My next one is from e.l.f. It's their foundation serum from their Beautifully Bare line. This is $8. There's only 3 shades. This is not... how do I word this? I didn't like this for my skin. But when I had mentioned that in a video, a lot of you guys said, no, it really is amazing. You just gotta have the right skin type for it. It's a very, very thin, lightweight formula. That's their gimmick, is that it really is more like a serum. And serums are, you know, liquid. It's only 3 shades, I think, because it's not meant to be like a full coverage kind of thing. It's supposed to kind of blend into the pigment of your own skin. And so you try to get something close. There definitely is a color to it. There's no getting around that. But when I put it on, it just, every dry patch I had, it just rubbed through and it just accentuated that. And then any redness, I could just see lines, whether I was using a brush my finger, a blender, it didn't matter. You could just see where you'd blended, where you had, it's like I couldn't get it blended into the skin. It just looks so weird on my skin, and I don't know, I've tried it a couple different ways, and every time I try it, I'm like, I just don't like it. But a lot of other people love it. So I think maybe if you've just got really perfect skin, or I'm wondering how it might look on more mature skin, it could either look really nice or really bad. I don't know, it just wasn't my favorite. I like the packaging, the pump is great, but beyond that, it didn't work for me. My next one is one that's a little bit newer to me. It's the Maybelline Fit Me foundation, but it's the dewy and smooth one. So they have like the regular Fit Me, which I think is now the matte and poreless, and then this one's the dewy and smooth, or I remember that the regular Fit Me foundation became either matte and poreless or dewy and smooth, and then there was I don't know. Regardless, this is the one I have right now, and it has SPF of 18, so it has a little bit of protection. Again, it's just got that dumb glass dump bottle. It is what it is. But I have the shade 120, great match for me. It really fits me, that Fit Me foundation. Their claims are that it hydrates, it smooths your skin texture, and it gives a naturally luminous finish. I agree. I actually really liked this. I thought I would hate it. I don't know why. I kind of had this thought towards Fit Me foundations, and like, I feel like I tried one in the past and I didn't like it. I don't know. I totally like it. Where my skin is right now, it had about medium coverage. I couldn't get it to be like full coverage, but for most days, I don't want full coverage. I want my skin to look evened out and not red, but I don't need to be like ready to film a video kind of coverage. Does that make sense? Yes. Do you guys hear the rain? It's been raining for days and I kind of don't hate it. And my natural curls can fly free because if my hair gets wet, it just dries to look like this anyway, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, I like this foundation. I wouldn't say it's a favorite, but it's totally one that, this is always my example, but if I were in a foreign country and I maybe my makeup got stolen or lost in the luggage, whatever, this is one that if I saw it in a store, I would totally buy it because it's a cheap one that I know I like. You know what I mean? So I like it. My next foundation is from L'Oreal. This is their Visible Lift Blur Foundation. This is one that was kind of under the radar for me for a while. And then one day I was like, no one talks about those. I'm going to buy them and try them. So I bought Buy Them and Try Them. That could be like a name of a series. That's pretty fun. Anyway, I bought the concealer from this line and this foundation. The shade I got was 204 Creamy Natural, which seems kind of dark, but it actually ends up working pretty well for my skin. It's just a squeezy tube, which I would much prefer over a glass dump bottle. But you squeeze it onto your skin, duh. And I feel like I'm just like talking about nothing right now. The claims of this is that it's supposed to be kind of more for mature skin. However, I'm 28 and I love what this does for my skin. So their claims are it blurs the looks of lines, wrinkles, uneven texture. For a fresh, smooth, youthful finish you'll love and not a flaw in sight. I think it's got medium to full coverage and it's just pretty. Again, this is one of those ones that every time I put it on, I feel like my skin likes it. And I don't know how else to explain that. I feel like some of you guys totally know what I mean though, when you put one on and your skin's like drinking it up. So I just like it. Again, it has sunscreen, it has SPF of 18, and I don't think it clings to dry patches, so if you have dry skin, I think you'd really like this. It doesn't give you like a dewy finish. I would say it's more of like a satin finish. It's certainly not matte, and I think because it's not matte, that's why it's more youthful looking. So it's just kind of in between, and I love that. I really like this foundation. I'm always so surprised that no one really knows about it. So my next two are two different drugstore cushion foundations. This is the L'Oreal True Match Lumi cushion, and it is, let's see, 12 shades, and it's $16.99. And then Maybelline has their Dream Cushion. They have the same packaging where you open it up, and there's the little applicator, and then you can open it to expose the cushion. So they have the same packaging. L'Oreal's is a little bit cuter only because it's got this pretty rose gold thing, but they're the same. So the Maybelline one has less shades, where the L'Oreal one had 12, this one has 8, and it's $1 less. So $15.99, $16.99. You can pretty much across the board get coupons for these, wait for a buy one, get one half off sale. Don't buy these at full price. There's no need. But I like them both. I think the L'Oreal might be a little bit less coverage than the Maybelline, but honestly, you guys, when I could do half the face with each, I don't notice a difference between them. I really don't. So it's kind of a matter of maybe you like the packaging of one more, or maybe one's on sale when you want it. Maybe one has your shade a little bit better than the other line. They're the same thing. If someone blindfolded me and put them on, I would never be able to tell the difference. So it's really impossible for me to say if I like one more than the other, because I just don't. But I think for me, it would just come down to which one's on sale the week I'm trying to buy it. You know what I mean? But in the L'Oreal, I have the shade W2, and it's a great match for me. And then in the Maybelline ones, I have shade 20 and 30, and 20 is a great match for me. So my next one is the L'Oreal Infallible Total Cover Foundation. And this one has 12 shades. It retails for $12.99. This one I actually really like the packaging for. It's a very thick foundation. Very, very thick, very moussey. And I think it fills fine lines. I mean, truly, it's full coverage. If you're looking for the most full coverage foundation you can find at the drugstore, in my opinion, this is it. It is, you can't see your skin underneath it, period. And frankly, I think this would be great. There's no SPF, so there would probably be no flashback with this. This would be a great event makeup. If maybe it's a wedding, maybe it's I don't know, if you're going to events where there's flash photography, whatever, I think this would be great for that. If you're looking for one, maybe prom, because it completely gets rid of any imperfections, redness, anything like that. Now, if you have dry skin, it does highlight it a little bit. For me, that's not totally a deal breaker for an event, because I'm not as concerned about people being like this close to me and seeing dry skin. I'm more concerned about how does it look in photographs, how does it look from maybe a little bit of a distance, how does it look all together with the rest of my makeup. And so for that, I think this is amazing event foundation. Weddings, graduations, I don't know why I feel the need to list off any possible event, but I think you guys get the idea. And for a drugstore foundation to be this high coverage, I think it's pretty amazing. So for that, I think that's awesome. I had the shade 302 in that one. I wanted to buy 302 because I bought 302 in the Visible Lift and I liked it. I think that one's not a perfect match for me, but it's pretty close. It's a little bit more, it kind of dulls my skin, that shade. So my next one is the Maybelline Dream Velvet foundation. This is supposed to be a soft matte hydrating foundation. So it's kind of a weird mix of ideas there. This one has 12 shades. It retails for $10.99. And I have in the shade 20, Classic Ivory, just a squeezy tube. It's again a thick foundation. It's a terrible shade match for me, by the way. Very, very orange. This is more of a whipped formula. Again, this is shade 20, which is a great match for me in the Dream Cushion in their line, but horribly orange for me. So I need to get another shade because of the shade, I've only tried it a couple times and then I've had to take it off. It's not coming across on camera how orange it is. But it's not my favorite. I feel like I end up blending it and it just keeps blending back and forth and it never really sinks into the skin because it's trying to bridge that gap between, you know, hydrating but also this soft matte kind of moussey texture. And it just doesn't really mesh well with a sponge or a brush. Probably best with your fingers, and even that doesn't look great. I think I still want to try it a little bit more and maybe get the correct shade to really give my full thoughts. This is one of the only ones, this is the only one I've tried the least amount of time. And I don't know that I would recommend it regardless of the shade because it just doesn't seem to really ever blend into your face properly. You can hear it in there because it's all stuck together because it's that whipped formula. It's not actually shaking, it's all one piece kind of moving back and forth. So kind of an interesting thing. If you think you'd like that, maybe if you have perfect skin, no dryness and maybe no oiliness, it's right in the middle, it might work for you. But I think if you're either way, you wouldn't really like it. My next foundation is the Revlon Colorstay Whipped Foundation. I have it in the shade 200. It's kind of a little bit darker than my skin, but the one below it wasn't quite right either. I love this stuff. When I did my wedding makeup video where I talked about what I wore and then drugstore equivalents, this is totally one that I would recommend for that as well. It's got great coverage. It lasts all day. No flashback, no SPF in it. I don't love that it's in a pot. They say it's like a mousse-like texture, and it totally is, but this one blends in a lot better than the, the Maybelline one. It just does. It's a softer formula. It feels, your skin will soak soak it in just a little bit better so it blends into your skin better. And for that reason, if you were looking for that kind of a foundation, I think this would be a better option than the Maybelline Dream Velvet. Just because this just feels cheaper when you're applying it to your skin. This one feels so much more luxurious. Feels like it's maybe a little bit better for your skin in that way. So I do love it. I would recommend it for wedding days as well if you don't need as much coverage. It's still full coverage, but I think it looks just a little bit more natural than the L'Oreal Infallible Total Cover. So, but they're both really good. I think for my skin, however, I end up liking this one a little bit better than that when it comes to if someone was to be close up to me, this looks a little bit more natural. My next one is from number 7. You can buy this at Target, which is where I bought it. Ulta sells it as well now, at least online. I'm not sure about in store. But it's their Lift and Illuminate foundation. This, they have 8 shades of, at least at Ulta, and it retails for $15.99. This is a beautiful foundation. It's my favorite everyday foundation because it still covers, I would say like medium coverage, but it's comfortable and it looks so beautiful. Like I'm like glowing thinking about it because it's one of those few foundations I've ever tried that when I put it on, I'm like my skin looks youthful and glowy, but covered enough. It's not caking up in weird spots. It's just so beautiful. It's so beautiful. So the packaging, it has a nice pump. It, you know, the shades, there's only 8 shades, so it's not a huge shade range. But if I ran out of this, I would 100%, I will buy it again because I will end up running out of this. It's one that every time I see it in my drawer, I'm like, I want to use that. And then I'm like, no, I need to try this out. So I'm like, oh, you know, but it's beautiful. Medium coverage, I would say, comfortable. Dry skin would love it. I think even if you have oily skin, this doesn't end up making your skin look like an oil slick. It's not that kind of luminizing foundation. It's just, it makes your skin look healthy. That's where the glow comes from. It's not shimmery, glittery, anything like that. I love it. So my next one is from number 7 again. It's their Stay Perfect foundation. This, they have 15 shades of, and it retails for $15.99. And again, these are sold at Ulta as well. But these are quickly becoming my holy grail when it comes to when I want full coverage, but it can't be for an event because there is SPF in it. So on days that I film, I usually wear this. On days that maybe if I'm having like a conference with a parent or something like that where I want to look my best, I love this stuff. Now, I haven't found my perfect shade, which is why I have 2 of them. I have Calico, which is a little bit too light, Warm Ivory, which is a little bit too dark, which, by the way, I had Warm Ivory in the Lift and Illuminate, and it's perfect. So I need to find the shade in between, but I've just been mixing these. I love applying it with a sponge. It has beautiful packaging, great pump. I mean, these are just amazing. So full coverage, comfortable. It doesn't highlight my dry spots, and I just feel, it says it's long lasting up to, what did they say, 17 hours. I'm always curious of how they test that to know why 17, not 18 or 16, you know. But it says coverage medium. I totally disagree. I really think it is full coverage. Now, it's not as full coverage as like this. So I guess in that respect, it's medium. But for me, when I think of full coverage, I ask myself, does it cover absolutely everything I want covered? And this does. So I guess that's my definition, but it would vary. It's kind of subjective, right? But totally recommend this to people that ask me, like, what's one of the best drugstore foundations? This is absolutely one of them. I can't wait to find the right shade, but I love it. One that I want to mention, but I haven't truly tried it, but I did want you to know that I have it. It's the number 7 Airbrush Away foundation. It's a very thin formula where, you know, you get it in the dropper and you drop it onto your skin. In my head, it's going to be similar to the e.l.f. Serum Foundation, but maybe a little bit more coverage. But it says squeeze it, dispense a few drops onto the back of your hand, start from the center of your face, blend outwards using your fingers or a brush. So I haven't tried it, but I figured it was worth mentioning that if you are interested in one like this, number 7 does carry one. But this one has 12 shades and it retails for $17.99, so it is a little bit more expensive. So you almost have to assume it'd be better, but I'll have to let you know. So I hope that this video was helpful for you to watch. I enjoyed doing it because I feel like I could really give a thorough idea of how these products work, at least for me, and also tell you about the shades and the price and basically just a better idea of what's out there right now. I've tried even more than this from the drugstore. I declutter all the time. Most of you guys know that. You watch my declutters. So I've gotten rid of a lot of drugstore foundations that it just wasn't right for my skin tone. So if you're curious about other ones that I used to have and maybe my thoughts on it, because it still might be good for you if you have different skin than me, I will link my foundation declutters that I've done in the past. You can kind of get an idea of ones that I didn't like enough for me, but it might still be good for you, or maybe other ones you should avoid. So I will link those below. I hope that you'll subscribe to catch more of these types of videos. Let me know by giving this video a thumbs up if you'd like more of these collection style review videos, and I would be glad to do them. Other than that, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.